Greetings, sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. This is Body-Culinary, and I wanted to come in and have a conversation about a life that is so much bigger than hair, right? And we can be doing so much better. It's not about making us bad or wrong, just having a little chit chat about the ways that we can do better, the ways we can do better. Whether you're a young flower, young man, young woman, young herb, or perhaps you're a more seasoned woman. I do understand there are folks that come here from different walks of life, different ethnicities. Everyone is welcome here as long as we are respectful. So I'd like to have a dialogue today. So if you're interested in this conversation, feel free to stay tuned. You're welcome to hit the like button if you're interested in these dialogues and the content on this channel so that I know what your interests are and so that I can be, have an understanding of what kind of content to share. Although most of the time I'm going to share from my heart. There's a lot of sharing about hair on this channel because I am one of these human beings that bust out onto this plane with very fine, kinky, afro textured hair that's very delicate. It's the hair that many folks say that they don't like. And I have decided to embrace radical self acceptance. So I share some of that journey on this channel. I also like to share motivation and encouragement to 3 lifestyle practices, which are these are leveraged activities, garden therapy, peaceful consumption, or food that loves you back, that doesn't deposit a whole lot of cloggage and waste on your waistline and your arteries and your liver and your glands. Foods that really contribute to your longevity, your vitality, and they taste really good too in a way that's sustainable. So, peaceful consumption, garden therapy, and cultivating or perhaps reactivating a personal movement practice. These are 3 lifestyle activities that are leverage where you get so much back for the investment of your time. So, only you can say in your quiet moments, assess whether or not you're getting something back for the investment, the very crucial commodity of your time and your attention, for the time that you're spending in front of these screens. Do you feel motivated to get into action around your core values, the things that you say you value, your health being number one, because we can't aspire to anything else if we're not healthy mentally, right? Physically and emotionally. So these 3 lifestyle practices go a long way in cultivating energy, vitality, calm, peace, and vibrancy. So you're welcome to join me on this journey. Also, if you're new here, you may or may not be aware that I am also a personal trainer, a professional chef with a focus on whole, fresh living, unprocessed foods. Resources that are available to you are Whole Living Foods in the Hood with menus to fit your budget, a whole guide if you'd like to embrace a lifestyle of whole, fresh living, unprocessed foods. If you're perhaps experiencing acne and perhaps you want to get away from a bunch of products and just use all of the foods that you are investing in on the inside first and then on the outside. Very much, it goes a great way in decluttering, right? And perhaps you can get rid of your shower caddy. I know I did, and I have no intention on bringing it back. I'm using a lot of the foods I've invested in, right? So there's also Flowah Fit. There's an application if you'd like to take part in coaching and also a community aspect. There's all kinds of things going on over there. So there are going to be some discussions, and this is a private platform, so you need to fill out an application at info at body-culinary.com, or you can follow the Discord link and you can fill out an application and we can vet and see if that's a good fit for you. And we want to make sure that it's safe so you know everyone that's in there. So again, getting into action around whole living foods, fitness, and garden therapy. In addition, there are some folks that are interested in languages, in travel, in dialogues about and education around women's health, right? Reproductive health and all that good stuff. So feel free to check us out over at Flowah Fit Coaching and Community. So that being said, I want to dive into this conversation today. So perhaps get your water in a wine glass, your water in a wine glass. your herbal tea, or your fresh juice. I know the juice that's on the menu today is going to be a mixture of cucumber and some different herbs. And I wanted to come in today to have this conversation about us doing so much better. So, I think of all of the young flowers that I have met and that have come into my life of late, as well as my nieces and my community nieces and the young women that I've mentored and come across when it comes to outreach and community work I've done around nutrition and fitness. There are many of us that will find in life that we need other mothers and aunties other than the mother that we physically came through. And to be quite honest, there are quite a few conversations that I would love to have a respectful dialogue to stimulate thought. And I think about the gems that were given to me from my godmother, who I talk about, my godparents, who I talk about all the time. And although I've still made some errors in judgment, I think of how much time it saved and just how grateful I am for someone mature to have real conversations with me. Not to put me down, not to manipulate me, but to have very real conversations. And that is part of the vision for Flowah Fit. Truth be told, there are many seasoned women that still are not having real conversations that could stimulate us to get into action around health, definitely around keeping ourselves out of harm's way and getting a focus on our lives. And quite honestly, making better decisions for ourselves. We can do a lot better. And the climate today on social media, there's so much around natural hair. Now there's so much around femininity and the level up. And we even hear hypergamy conversations, which were never as loud as they are now. And I'm glad for stimulating, critical thinking and things that may not have even been on your radar as a young woman or a young man. And I can say that this hair for me is so much bigger than hair. I really could cut it off. I'm going along for the ride. But I do know, not but and I do know that part of choosing this lifestyle, the way I eat, that I choose to eat and take care of myself, the way I choose to express with physical activity and really freedom here, a big impetus is to take a lot of stuff off the table so I can focus on what's really important. So being attractive, yes, that's important. However, I feel like that's it's easier when we can be comfortable in our skin, when we're not running ourselves ragged and running all over town, when we can simplify things and really embrace the inherent style and the inherent unique DNA markers that we popped out onto this plane with. It's like the most unique beauty mark that I can think of. Right up there with our Asian counterparts with their beautiful slanted eyes and, some of our other counterparts that have red hair. This is a unique genetic marker. And I think embracing it saves so much money, time, energy, anxiety when we can learn to work with what it is that we have, right? To really embrace it. It takes a lot off the table, allowing the body to balance to a healthy weight, which the body knows how to do. And we just stop giving it substances masquerading as food, which is a whole mentality in and of itself. It takes a lot of time, energy, and focus off the table so we can start to focus on other things, right? And we're not worrying about the food, not worrying about play, not worrying about hair. We've freed up a tremendous amount of time for inner reflection, for corrective action, for course correcting. I hear certain terms thrown around a lot, like today, like generational curses, which makes sense in terms of patterns that are being passed down. And that's what I really want to touch in today. So we can do better. We can we have options now for our hair so we can feel a lot more confident and have some rock solid, start to cultivate a rock solid foundation of esteem where we're not so preoccupied with trying to look like every no offense to Kardashian, every Kim Kardashian type, we're all starting to look the same, like almost like Mattel toys or something. It has a very artificial air to it. It's not bad or wrong. However, there's something that we're looking to soothe and feed and develop, and it doesn't appear that altering ourselves uh, is it's not really hitting it with the esteem. You know, if it's temporary, if we feel like when we take this stuff off, we're back at square one, right? The foundational work, the reparenting, the unpacking of trauma, it's not going anywhere. In fact, it can be, these little thorns can be driven in deeper when we allow ourselves to be pandered to, when we compromise our well being and our decision making. So, all this to say, what the heck does hair have to do with good decisions? What kind of decisions? Decisions around parenting and choosing to be parents. Choosing to be parents. This is like choosing to be parents and who you choose as a partner, as a life partner, as a mate, someone that you let into your sacred temple. These are by far some of the most important decisions that we will make. However, before we even get there, it appears based on results that we're not prepared, and we don't need to beat ourselves up about it, because we have generations of women that were ill prepared. If we look at the collective communication skills monetarily, a lot of times we're having children unintentionally by quote unquote accident, which is not really an accident, without a level of commitment and care. Quite often, we are choosing folks based on their looks and appearance, and their initial, on the best behavior, without really taking the time to get to know people. And many of us don't really know what a vetting process is, other than looking at somebody's financial. Maybe sometimes now we'll look at a credit report, but that's not enough to get to know someone. And it's also not enough to get to know ourselves, to reparent and course correct with ourselves. The whole point of course correction is to make better choices that our parents did, to make choices that are not coming from a space of merely avoidance of trauma, which sometimes can keep our focus on the trauma and it can come through the back door and have us still making poor decisions. I know we talk so much about, or there's so much talk of menfolk and the manosphere and toxic masculinity. However, as someone that's a mom, I sit back and I say, and some folks may disagree because I may be going around and about because I make an effort to be conscientious with my choice of words. But to put it simply, I don't think that we realize until it's too late, if at all, how much our choices and partners and co-parents, how much our choices affect children, how much they affect human beings. The human beings will be parents to. If we choose poorly as women, if and when or should we choose men that are unwilling to parent, that have not demonstrated a commitment to parenting, then a lot of that is on us. If we choose in knowledge, if in full knowledge, if we choose without a vetting process, then we are setting young human beings up. We're setting them up for failure. We're setting them up for a life of frustration. This is not to beat up on us. This is about all of us, all human beings, white, black, young, old, but especially before you become parents, taking responsibility and being honest with the fact that we're just not prepared for all that healthy, functioning human beings who will be a contribution, a benefit to themselves and perhaps to us when as they age. They need certain things to be in place. They need mental, emotional stability. They don't need us to just choose someone based on their muscles and their physique. Although we get, physical attractiveness is the first thing that comes up. By now, we can see that's just not enough. It's actually a very immature place to come from. It's very primal. We have the opportunity as a species to choose not just with our eyes someone that looks like they'll give us healthy children. We have the ability to vet and to ascertain and to calculate whether we're going to set human beings and little people up for heartache, for being ill protected. We don't see ourselves. We could do better. We can do better. Maybe many of us need to just keep our reproductive organs, keep our genitals under wrap to ourselves if we're not prepared to avoid putting future generations at risk, and be honest with the fact that if we're ill prepared, the stress of raising children on your own, as well as not being able to protect them, that dramatically affects little human beings, little children. It's dramatic. It's dramatic. And women, we have a large part to play in this. It's actually, in retrospect, it's selfish. Just one woman's perspective. You can always disagree respectfully in the comments. It is very selfish to choose someone that, well, ourselves, we're not prepared financially, emotionally, um, mentally. We're not prepared for parenthood, and we're choosing people that are not willing and are unable to parent. There's no demonstration of commitment. It's selfish. We're setting young people up for failure. And it's so easy to point the finger. So, what could save us a whole lot of issues and trouble is choosing well. And perhaps just being honest, I'm not ready. My hormones may be raging, this person is attractive, but that doesn't mean at all that I am prepared or willing to be a parent. We're not being honest with ourselves. This is not just men, this is also us as women. We are also contributing and choosing someone that is not willing or able to be a parent, someone that is immature. Someone that's immature with their reproductive organs. That means we're being immature with our reproductive organs in allowing it, in the allowing of it. And just what these little human beings will have to go through, unprotected. They're not set up financially. They're coming into an unstable environment. We're going to be very stressed out because one person can only do so much. We're setting these little human beings up for failure. And we can keep saying that, we got it, we got it, we got it. But we're going to drop the ball somewhere. Even if we do a great job raising them, it often comes at the expense of our own health. And so, is it just martyrdom? Is that the prize? And we raise uh, these healthy children on the outside. Physically, they're healthy. They're also affected by seeing us not taking care of ourselves. They're affected by seeing us not able to function in healthy relationships. So all is to say, it's selfish for us not to choose better. It's selfish for us to not be honest with the fact that we're not prepared quite often to have children. And I wonder, let me know what you think. Do you think we could ever get to a time where we are at a space of clarity, where we are really clear that prevention is so much better, is so much more effective than cure? To prevent, to imagine us never having to go into one of those so-and-so clinics, right? For unplanned children. Imagine us not putting ourselves at risk, right? Just having the clarity of mind where we don't put ourselves at risk to open our bodies, to risk STDs because people haven't been vetted properly. What would that look like? Is that possible? I think it is possible. I think it will take some clarity and some honesty. And to be quite honest, we can say many of our parents weren't mature. So do we continue to make immature decisions and wing it with other people's lives? With the amount of complaints and trauma that is shared from older adults, quite often what's shared in addition to maybe perhaps being mishandled, um, the issues with parents not being emotionally and physically present. Well, why wouldn't parents be physically and emotionally present? Well, that means we weren't prepared. We didn't handle issues. So if you don't handle your issues, you're not going to be able to be present. And human beings need present parents. Those are our first foundational relationships. So I'm not here to lay myself on the altar or to say that I'm perfect or that I've never made errors in judgment. Yet, when I speak to some of my homies or my peers, it doesn't appear that there are honest conversations with the next generation about the lessons that we've learned. And it's so easy just to point the finger and not take accountability. Not so much about blame, but just responsibility and accountability. And really being honest with, we're risking the next generations, their whole life, their mental, emotional stability. We're potentially breeding narcissists, males and females, just by immature choices, ill-prepared choices, in particular when it comes to mates and engaging, in intimate relations. It's one of the most important decisions that you'll make. And I think we can be having other conversations and other alternatives. I don't know that the answer is just going to someone with a different package, whether that is however you identify yourself or whatever your someone's ethnic profile is. I don't think that's enough because it still doesn't speak to the corrective action, to the reparenting. It still doesn't necessarily speak to resolving a lot of our issues and our traumas before we decide to parent. I have to say that I've encountered numerous women that were honest at a young age and said, I never wanted to have children because I felt like I was really jacked up, or I have unresolved issues that I'm going to pass on to my children. And sometimes folks or women can be shamed into saying that, oh, you get the feel good talk. Oh, no, you can still be a parent and have children. And looking at these women, there's several women have been very honest and saying, I'm not there. I don't have it, to give. If we look around, human beings are missing something. They're not getting something. And one of the things I've observed is we're choosing very poorly. We're not prepared, most of us, to be parents. We're not. We're very immature. We're looking to have a good time. We don't want to be parents. And it's something selfish, and we want to have these children. Maybe we think we're just securing our future. However, maybe we think they'll just take care of us when we're older. However, if they're not mentally or emotionally fit, then the equation is skewed from out the gate. So y'all let me know what you think. Do you think we can do better? What do you think it will take for us to do better? What kind of frame of mind do we have to be in to not be so selfish when it comes to being parenting, to being parents or choosing to become a parent? Perhaps being honest with, many of us may not become parents. Many of us may not get married. It may sound horrible to some folks. However, making poor choices or even settling and being in unhealthy relationships, this deeply affects our children. Not taking care of our health deeply affects our children and our partners. So I think quite simply, it boils down to personal accountability and responsibility for corrective action, for unpacking trauma, for researching and writing your own prescription for your own health, which is why I really love those 3 lifestyle practices, because it's something that we can do, that we do have access to. And I know folks come on this channel, we want to talk about the raw vegan cakes and the recipes and the hair, and that's all great. However, this is so much bigger than hair. Removing hair off the table as a huge concern. I know for me, definitely a big part of the impetus is so I can focus on the things that really matter, that emotional, mental stability, and unpacking and resolving trauma and issues. So I can be about the business of releasing forgiveness, aka releasing myself and other people, put into perspective what my parents did, what they weren't able to do, so that I can move all of that off the table and be 110% responsible for my life right now here at the stand. So y'all let me know what you think. How do you think, what kind of frame of mind does it take, right? Because it's easy to talk about all this superficial and get more things and do more stuff superficially. What kind of mindset will it take? What kind of corrective action do you think we need to take individually to course correct so that we can come to a future, we can come to a point where we don't need to be concerned, because we have such a rock solid vision of accountability and responsibility to ourselves and to the next generation that there's no need for us to go into the clinics, right? We're being so responsible that we're not putting ourselves at risk for different types of STDs, because we're that much accountable and responsible for ourselves first, that we're not willing to put ourselves at risk. And we also have a contingency plan should things not go as we had planned, should other things pop up. being 110% responsible for ourselves and our own lives. So I'm inviting you to create a great day on purpose. Feel free to let me know how your Afro Afro locks are coming if you've decided to embark on the freedom hair regimen. Because over here in this little corner of the internet, natural bodies matter. If you got small tetas, or you got a gap in your teeth, you got really fine hair, you might have a couple of corns and stretch marks. Maybe you're a little fluffy or whatever. So really loving what you have, I would say love yourself to the next level, right? Because if you really care and express care for yourself, the body you have now, the body will fall in alignment. The body will follow your choices. Your choices are going to follow how you are feeling about yourself. We deserve to feel comfortable. We deserve to feel comfortable. I deserve to feel comfortable in my own hair and skin and the unique features that were divinely assigned to me. And if I had pale white skin, if I had chinky eyes, if all my hair fell out, it would be the same thing. It would be the same thing. I invite you to create some places and spaces where you can rest your eyes, where you can rest your ears, where you can rest your mental conditioning, all this mental conditioning. What kind of sanctuary spaces can you create in your home, in your movement practice area, and your kitchen healing laboratory, so you're encouraged to go in there and make beautiful food for yourself, right? In your garden area, your personal movement practice, your place where you're making beautiful food for yourself. I invite you, create a sanctuary so wherever you're paying rent and mortgage, you can have a good time spending good quality time with yourself. So, inviting you all to create a great day on purpose. Let me know what you think about this conversation down in the comments. You're welcome to share respectfully in the comment section. Feel free to check out Kwasa with a K, peaceful, like full belly eating on TikTok. I do post from time to time in the community section, and also Kwasa Peaceful Eating on FB, on Facebook, and Body-Culinary also on Facebook and Instagram. All right, y'all. See you real soon. Like, comment, and subscribe.